From the heart of the space city to the heart of Gen Z, welcome to Next Gen Conversation. Not Dad's Talk Radio. Ethan talks to you about the issues and events that matter to our generation. This is the Next Gen Report with Ethan Buchanan.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Next Gen Report. How about it? Give me a quick follow on X. Whatever you're doing right now, pause it. If you're watching the video right now or listening, you can leave whatever app you're watching and listening on, go follow me on X and it'll still be playing. @_Ethan Buchanan. We have a great time over there on X. There's always a lot going on. I really do love that site. And probably it's because I'm addicted to social media already, but also I really do think it's the best social media site out there. And that's not just because Elon Musk agrees with me on a lot of stuff. He does, and that helps, but I like it anyway. But, you know, there really is a lot going on there. I think Elon has done a very good job of turning X into kind of the new town hall, the new public square, which is kind of what he was wanting to do. And he did it. Shout out to him. Good job. But yeah, go give me a follow there @_Ethan Buchanan. You can catch the show there. You can stay up to date with everything going on there. Some of the topics. It's a great way to get in touch with me if you're at all interested in that. I've started getting recognized by a couple of people here and there. It's happened twice now. It's really cool. But if you're somebody who recognized me there, hey, reach out to me. Say hi. I talk to people. I love to talk to people. It's my favorite thing to do. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me there. I would love to hear from you. So let's talk about something that I actually saw in there courtesy of Kenny Webster. I saw he had posted this, and then I looked it up and found it for myself, and it's real. And it speaks to just the hilarity and I think kind of maneuvering genius of Donald Trump. So on the official White House internet page, the White House website, Donald Trump has created a White House timeline about the White House. And this, I think, is really good for a lot of reasons. One, this is, where the president of the United States lives. I think it's very important that we, keep up to date with it. We understand what's going on, where it came from. It is a part of American culture and history. I think it's good that people know about it, right? The history of it. There's obviously a lot of history there. So, yeah, by all means, let's stay up to date with it. Let's be aware of what's going on there, for sure. Yeah. Two, as always, he turned it into a really creative way to kind of dig at his opponents. So, we've had the left going bananas about Trump renovating the East Wing and turning it into a big ballroom. And this does a good job of pointing out, hey, actually, we've been renovating and changing this place since we built it. This is nothing new. And also, and I'll demonstrate this to you, he also turned it into a dig at his political enemies, which is pretty freaking hilarious. So let's dig into it. First of all, step one, inspiration. For 150 years, presidents, administrations, and White House staff have longed for... Oh, wait, this isn't it. There it is. Major events timeline. I'm sorry, I started reading the wrong thing. All right, major events timeline. Step one, design plans commence from 1791 to 1800. Our first president, George Washington, selected the site for the White House. The following year, the cornerstone was placed and they started building it. Then, of course, as you may or may not know, we had the rebuilding after the War of 1812. It was burned down and it was then rebuilt. Then we had the addition of the South Portico. That's the kind of circle that you see, very iconic. Addition of the North Portico. That's actually on the official White House logo. That's the kind of pointed entrance. Then we had the addition of the West Wing. That was in 1902. Then we had the addition of the Oval Office. That was in 1909. The Oval Office actually has since been moved. We had in 1913 the addition of the Rose Garden. In 1934 to 1942, the addition of the East Wing, which Donald Trump has now torn down. In 1948 to 1942, the entire White House was actually completely reconstructed. They gutted the entire building, left only the exterior walls, and rebuilt the entire White House. In 1970, we had the addition of the press room. That's, of course, iconic. This is where it gets funny. In 1998, we have the Bill Clinton scandal. That's included in the notable historic events. President Bill Clinton's affair with intern Monica Lewinsky was exposed. That's funny. 2012, we had the Muslim Brotherhood visit. Obama hosts members of the Muslim Brotherhood, a group that promotes Islamist extremism and has ties to Hamas. The Muslim Brotherhood is a designated terrorist organization by nearly a dozen nations. Yeah, I think it's worth knowing that Barack Obama had these guys over for a visit. That'll play in later. We're going to talk about this some more in the next segment. Then we had in 2020 the Tennis Pavilion. First Lady Melania Trump oversaw the privately funded construction of a 1,200 square foot tennis pavilion on the South Lawn, featuring a neoclassic design with a copper roof and limestone cladding. The elegant structure unifies the tennis court, children's garden, and kitchen garden, enhancing recreational opportunities for first families. That's nice. 2023, cocaine discovered. During Biden's administration, a U.S. Secret Service agent discovered a small zippered plastic bag containing cocaine in the West Wing lobby. And then it goes on to dig at him for the laptop thing. Then in 2023 and 2024, we have the Trans Day of Visibility. That was pretty notable. We remember that. We talked about it on the show. The Biden-Harris administration hosts transsexuals at the White House in 2023 and goes on to establish the Transgender Day of Visibility. That's funny. Then in 2025, we have the North and South flagpoles added. President Donald Trump personally funded the installation of two 88-foot flagpoles in the North and South lawns of the White House. Then in 2025, we have the Rose Garden renovations. In August 2025, President Trump completed a $2 million Rose Garden renovation funded through the generosity of private citizens. All of these projects, by the way, that Trump is doing have been privately funded. That's always nice. And then, of course, we have the Oval Office renovations, and we have now the East Wing renovations and the construction of the White House. Again, all privately funded, either by Trump himself footing the cash or him going and soliciting donations. This is great. I love it. This is honestly political genius because, like I said, it does two things really well. It demonstrates, clearly throughout the entire White House history, this has been rebuilt and altered and renovated. So changing it is nothing new, despite the fact that the left wants you to lose your mind over it. And also, it makes a fool out of the left, which is fantastic. Everything he added was something that's crazy, that you can't believe the left would allow this to happen in the people's house. Oh, the sacred White House, but ignore the fact that we let cocaine run wild in it. Oh, the sacred White House, but yeah, Bill Clinton was up to some shenanigans. Oh, the sacred White House, but here are the transgenders on Easter that are whipping their plastic knockers out on the South Lawn. I'm not kidding, that happened. That's a real thing that happened, and yet the left wants you to believe that this is such a secret or sacred space that you can't dare put a ballroom on it. Please, spare me. This is ridiculous. But anyway, hey, we got a great show coming up. A lot of stuff in the next segment. We're going to be talking about Islam and Zorhan Mamdani in New York City. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these ads. All right, welcome back to the Next Gen Report. If you know me, and I'm small enough at this point that I think most of my listeners know me, you know that I don't go out of my way to talk about New York State politics usually, especially not New York City politics. And if you don't know me, let me explain to you my philosophy. Basically, anything north of the Mason-Dixon line, I have little to no respect for. I don't like it up north. I'm a Texan. I'm a Southerner. That's how I've always been. That's how I always will be. I really don't like New York City. It's a huge city, which, I mean, I like cities in general, but like Houston's the max size a city should be, in my opinion. Houston is the perfect city, I think. And every city should be Houston, and every city that's not Houston should just disappear, become a small town, go away. But it's radically, wildly left. From what I hear, it's not a terribly nice place to live. It's way too expensive. It's way too crowded, and it stinks. And there's big rats there. That's what I've heard. I don't know how much of this is true. I will never visit because I know I can't carry there. And I'm not going to go somewhere where I can't have a gun on me. I just won't do it. It's not safe. It's foolish of me. I won't do it. Ugh, voice crack. So, all that being said, I avoid New York. I avoid talking about New York because, frankly, I don't care. That entire island could fall into the ocean and I wouldn't bat an eye. I just don't care. But I think the current political trends in New York City kind of can be extrapolated broadly into the United States. So I think in this one occasion with this Zoran Mamdani race, we're going to talk about New York City politics. So if you're not familiar with Zoran Mamdani, he's some type of Indian ethnically, and religiously he's Muslim, and politically he's a socialist. So he's a wild character for sure. And not that I have anything against any of those things on an individual level. I have to say this all the time now. I don't have anything against any individual person until I meet you and decide I don't like you personally. All right? Socialism is a stupid ideology at best and an outright knowingly evil ideology at worst. Islam is the same. It's a false religion. It's pagan. It's disgusting. And I really don't have anything against the people of India. But Muslims and socialists, on a broad scale, on a macro scale, if you're saying I need to accept these ideologies in the United States, no. The answer is no. They're antithetical to what the United States was built on. But that's Zoran Mamdani's entire platform, is Muslim socialism. So here he is going on and on and on about his platform at a recent rally. This was October 26th, so not long ago. And here he is touting all the amazing things he's going to do, namely freeze the rent. Take it away, Zoran.
Here is what we stand for, my friends. We are going to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants and use every resource at our disposal to build housing for everyone who needs it. We are going to eliminate the fare on every single bus line and make what are currently the slowest buses in the nation move around this city with ease.
All right, let's start real quick. So everything he's suggested up until this point does one of two things: spend a lot of money or cut off income for the city. How do you make that make sense? We're going to start shelling out big to build housing for people. Okay, so that's a cost. Where are you going to get that money? At the same time, you're turning off a city revenue stream by eliminating bus fare. That doesn't make any sense. That just doesn't make any sense.
And we are going to create universal childcare at no cost to parents, so New Yorkers can raise their family in the city they love. Together, New York, we're going to freeze the... Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and... Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal... We will make our city one where every person who calls it home can live a dignified life.
Yeah, I mean, this all sounds great, right? Everything is free and works perfectly and everybody has a great time. Great. How are you going to pay for it? Because guess what? Nothing's free. This is the one thing that socialists cannot, to save their life, actually comprehend. Nothing at all. Count it with me. All the things that are free. Ready? Zero. Done. Nothing is free. All of this money is going to have to come from somewhere. And everything he's suggesting is expensive. This is what Matt Walsh pointed out. Everything he suggested here has failed everywhere it's been tried. Let's start with freezing the rent. Great. People don't have to pay extra in their, various apartments, and if they're renting a house, great. What happens when the cost of labor for repairs and maintenance goes up? What happens? Seriously, where does that extra money come from? Because guess what? The cost of labor is rising. The cost of living is rising. You can't just stop it. I mean, you can do things to slow it down across the board, but if you just say, actually, just for housing, no, it's going to stay the same. Okay, so for the landlord who now has to pay extra, because that's how this works, that's how inflation works, you have to pay extra over time to buy supplies and pay for labor to repair damaged parts of the house or do regular maintenance. So where does that extra money come from? Because it's not coming from the tenant. You froze the rent. You can't jack the rent up on them. So I'll tell you what happens. People just sell their houses that they're currently holding as investment property. And eventually, sooner or later, they become unlivable because you can't do maintenance on them, or they just get demolished because they're not profitable. That's what happens. This is the universal, undeniable truth. Now, if you want to say, okay, well, how do we get rid of inflation? We can have that discussion. By all means, let's get back on the gold standard. Let's eliminate the Federal Reserve. Let's start working towards eliminating inflation. That can be done. It's going to take years and probably an all-out economic collapse because we've built such a big system on such an unstable base that if we try to fix it, it's going to collapse. It's going to collapse eventually either way. But if we knock it out right now, we can just rebuild the Jenga tower from scratch. So which is it going to be? You're going to tank the economy so that we can end inflation, which if you want to have that discussion, all right, let's talk about it. Or are we just going to say, hey, unfortunately, inflation is part of life and that goes with housing? One of those two things is actually plausible and workable, and the other one is not. But he doesn't understand this, or he does, and he just knows that his voters won't. And he can say feel good things, and then all the little white chicks who just want to be viewed as nice people, and that's how they vote. Whatever makes me look nice. I don't want people to think I'm mean. What, you don't want people to have childcare? You want people to be priced out of their homes? No, I just understand how reality works. There's what's nice and what would be perfect, and there's what's actually doable. Nobody on the left seems to understand this or care. You can't just do whatever you want and hope for the best. We live in a real world. Real actions have real consequences. But no, just be nice to people. Just vote for the utopia. The utopia doesn't exist. It never will exist. Unless you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and then die. Then you can be in utopia. That's how that works. If you want utopia, that's the steps. There you go. But if you try to vote in a socialist utopia, all you're going to get is tank the entire city of New York, which personally I'm fine with. And here's why. I think, and this might be kind of cynical, but I think at any given point, we need a couple of just radical, off the walls, terrible to live in, left-wing cities that the right on a national level can point to and say, this is what they want, this is what their policies do, don't do it. If we have to have New York be that sacrificial lamb so that we can win national elections from now until the end of time, you know what? Go for it. I wasn't planning on visiting New York anyway. We're going to talk about this some more in just a second. Stay tuned. All right, real quick plug. If you're listening right now and you own a business, I want you to consider, if you like what you've heard so far, and then if you like what you hear in this segment and the next, I want you to consider being a show sponsor. And I'll tell you how to do that in the next segment, but just put it in your head now as you continue to listen to the show. So let me continue with where we were talking about Zoran Mamdani. We talked about just kind of politically, his ideas just don't work. We know that. So are people really voting for him for his ideas? I mean, maybe, but probably not. Most people probably aren't. Most people are voting because we want to be nice to the Muslim people, right? Right? We want to be nice to everybody. We want everybody to feel welcome. We want everybody to feel like they're a part of America and la-di-da-di-da. We just got to be nice to people, right? And Zoran's being nice to people. He sees that Islam and Muslim people aren't being welcomed into the United States, and he just wants to fix that. That's what's at the bleeding heart of all of these kind of white chicks who make up, I think, what is the core base of Zoran's voters. But also, there's a huge amount of Muslim immigrants that are trying to take over this country, and I'm not kidding. So we're going to get into that in a minute. So we just had this debate between all of the three major candidates for New York City mayor. That's Zoran Mamdani, the Democrat candidate, Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, and Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of New York, who's running as an independent. So I want you to take a listen to this clip from that debate, and I'll tell you what's wrong with it after we listen to it. Let me know if you can figure it out. If you can figure it out, gold star, kudos to you. Let me know on X. Reach out to me. Say, hey, I got it before you told me. But if you can't, don't worry. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with it. Take a listen.
Candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except, that is totally false.
And then they argue about whether or not that's actually true. But let me ask you this. Why in the hell is a qualifier for New York City mayor whether or not you've been to a bunch of mosques or can even name a mosque? That shouldn't matter in the slightest. You don't see New York City. You're not making Muslims welcome in this city. Name a mosque. Name every mosque in the city. When's the last mosque you visited? Last I checked, we're a Christian nation. We are. We were founded by Christians on Christian principles for Christians. You can hate me all you want for saying that, but we've gone in great detail on this show about how that's an undeniable historical fact. Every core tenet that makes up the United States of America comes directly from Western Christendom. That is a fact. That is an undeniable fact. So why the hell do you have to prove how accepting you are of Muslims to be the mayor of an American city? The American city, some might argue. Why is that a factor at all? It shouldn't matter. But the answer is Zorhan isn't campaigning to most New Yorkers. He's campaigning specifically to the Muslims. He knows he's got the Democrat base locked down just by being a socialist. That's what we talked about in the first segment, where he's pushing all these socialist policies. That he's got the kind of the Kamala Harris voters, if you will. He's got them locked down. He doesn't need to campaign for those votes. He's got them. He said, hey, free childcare, rent stabilized, call it a day. That's done. He won those votes. He's the Democrat nominee. He doesn't have to try. What he's campaigning for right there is Muslim immigrant votes. That's what he's doing. He's not after American votes in this speech. He wants Muslim votes. And I did specify a difference because we are a Christian nation. You can't say I've assimilated into American culture until you convert to Christianity. You can't. Or if you're kind of a Christian-based secular person, maybe. But we are a Christian nation. So assimilating to America, American culture, requires, by definition, conversion to Christianity. He doesn't want those votes. He wants the Muslim votes. Here's the science of it. 62% of foreign-born New Yorkers back socialist Zorhan Mamdani for mayor. The actual amount of kind of regular New Yorkers that are backing him is very different here. Among foreign-born New Yorkers, Mamdani received far more support, with 62% saying they'd vote for him in the mayoral election. Among those in New York City who were born in America, 40% say they support Cuomo, 31% said they would vote for Mamdani. So most natural-born American citizens, natural-born New Yorkers, actually support Andrew Cuomo. If just natural-born Americans were voting in this race, Cuomo would win, and by a landslide. Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, and Zorhan Mamdani would split the vote. And Andrew Cuomo would win everybody else going away. Now, I don't know the actual data of it. Maybe that would require a runoff. I don't know. But as of right now, right here, if it's just actual New Yorkers voting in that race, Cuomo wins. But when you factor in the mass immigration, both legal and illegal, that we've had over the last 10, 15, 20 years, because remember, the Muslim population, and you can go look this up. I don't have time to pull up the actual charts, but maybe I'll show it in a future episode. You can find it online. It's not hard. The Muslim population in the United States has shot up dramatically since 9/11, which is weird, but it's happened. It's skyrocketed. 62% of those people are backing Zoran Mamdani. No kidding. He's one of them. He's campaigning to them. Of course they would. Just shy of 50% of female New Yorkers support. So here's what he's doing. He's grabbing the, we need to be nice to people females, the kind of bleeding heart women that make up the very core base of the radical left, the weaponized empathy folks, and then the 62% of foreigners who have not assimilated to American culture. He's grabbing them, and then a few other folks, and he's cobbling together this coalition, which is at its core primarily un-American. These are people who immigrated to the United States and are now trying to turn the United States into a Muslim country. Don't take my word for it. He said it himself. Here it is. Take a listen.
We came here to remake this state in the image of our people.
We came here to remake this state in the image of our people. And this is what we see from Islam throughout all of Islam's history. Throughout all of Islam's history, it's conquer. Conquer, convert by force. That's how Islam grew from the very beginning. That's all the Prophet Muhammad did. Conquer, convert by force. If you wouldn't convert, we execute you. That was his thing. That's why we had crusades. Because we woke up after 700 years of this and said, oh my God, these people are on Jerusalem's doorstep. They've taken Jerusalem. They're on Rome's doorstep. If we don't stop Islam from conquering and converting by force, there will be no Western society. There will be no Christianity. So we fought back. That's what the Crusades were. This is historical fact. All of this is verifiable. Study it. They want you to believe that Islam is a religion of peace because they've started doing the same thing with more peaceful measures. Islam is a religion of warfare. They've turned to politics because politics is war by other means. That's what's happening. They will invade every American city they can get their hands on. They will shoehorn a candidate that can say enough socialist things to get the bleeding heart liberals, and then they'll cobble together the rest of the votes they need with mass immigration. This is what is happening in the United States as we speak. And it's happening in New York City. And we're just watching it happen in real time. You think they stop at New York City? No, they take New York State next. It's the same thing we've seen in Minneapolis. That is a Muslim city by every stretch of the imagination. And they come for Minneapolis next. That's what happens. This is the predictable result. You think they stop there? You think they're happy with just Minneapolis and New York? No, it's America next. They will take all of Western Christendom and destroy it because it's antithetical to their belief system. It is. Islam and Christianity are not compatible, even slightly. You can maybe have on a very, very micro level coexistence. Very, very micro. But on broad scale, macro Islam in a Western country doesn't ever work. Western Christianity will do two things. It'll fight back or it'll cave and be destroyed. Those are the options. That's it. So if by some chance you're listening to my voice in New York and you can vote against this guy, by all means do it. We're going to talk more about this in the next segment. This is going to be the whole show. I didn't mean for it, but it's important and we need to talk about it. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. You know, I really didn't mean for Zoran to become the main and almost only topic of this show. But I guess I had more thoughts about this than I thought, which is, you know, it is what it is. That's what we're talking about. So, you know, I've had a lot of thoughts about assimilation recently. We've been talking about that in this episode. We've talked a lot about assimilation. So there's kind of two types of assimilation, I think. there's just kind of practical assimilation. There's understanding how American culture works. We say hello when we see each other. We shake hands. That's something we do. We have certain standards for table manners and things like that. Really simple, basic, surface level stuff. And then there's the deeper stuff like, do you actually hold the beliefs that built this nation? Are the beliefs you do hold compatible if they're not necessarily identical, right? Things like that. That's kind of the deeper core levels of assimilation. So there's, can you get by in day-to-day life in American culture? And then can you become American, right? Those are the two types of assimilation. Zorhan Mamdani has cleared neither of those bars clearly because he's a proud proponent of socialism, which is un-American. It's antithetical to freedom. It is antithetical to America. He's also Muslim, which is antithetical to Christendom and therefore antithetical to America. And also, he has not mastered day-to-day American life, and I'll prove it to you right here. That man is eating rice with his hands. Now, you can argue, oh, that's his culture. That's how they do it in India or Ghana or wherever the hell he's from. He's not in India. He's not in Ghana. He's not in wherever the hell he's from. He's in the United States of America, and we eat rice with a fork here. Maybe a spoon. You could get away. Actually, a spoon would probably be easier because rice kind of crumbles, but anyway, you don't eat it with your hands. And this point has been made quite a bit. I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter. You've seen people making this point. Now, there are those who would try to argue, well, we eat all kinds of stuff with our hands here in Western societies. Here's this lady on this podcast. I don't know what show this is. I don't know who this lady is. Season B, I don't know anything about this. But here they are saying, these are English ladies. So, you know, kind of different, but not really, because America came from England. So here they are saying, we eat all kinds of things with our hands. We eat pizza and burgers and fries and chips and la-di-da-di-da with our hands. Here she is saying that.
I think it's more like, why do people find it weird when you come from a culture when
everything else is eaten with hands?
You eat pizza, chips, chicken, burgers. Yeah. Actually, loads of food is eaten with your hands. Yeah. All fast food is eaten with your hands. Sandwiches are eaten with.
Okay, this is a stupid point, and I'm going to prove it to you. Burgers, chips, everything else is eaten with your hands. All right. I don't have a plate of rice on hand. Here's how Zorhan eats rice. I have shredded cheese, which is pretty similar. So there's a couple of ways I can eat this with my hands. One, I can take a very small pinch one at a time and just drop it into my mouth. That's clearly not what he's doing in this picture. He's grabbing a fistful of the rice. My options now are like slurp it with my fingers into my mouth. I'm not going to do that on camera because that's gross and weird. But everybody, I'm confident, at some point in their life, probably, hopefully in their early childhood, has done this. They've gone in, they've grabbed a fistful of the shredded cheese, and they've just sucked that whole thing and their fist into their face to get the cheese. Because that's how you do, that's what you do there. You've got to either drop your fingers into your mouth or just slurp all over your fingers to get it in. I'm trying to use as much audio here for the listeners, but this really plays better if you're watching it. So go check me out on YouTube right now. Ethan Buchanan or the Next Gen Report, search either or. Now, that's why we don't do this in the United States, in Western culture, because it's gross and we're developed. That's weird. If I were to eat something like this in polite company, I would take a fork or a spoon and I would scoop it and put it into my mouth. That's what I would do. That's not what Zorhan is doing. That's gross. What he's doing is gross. I don't care if it's his culture. If that's his culture is gross. Ours is better. All right? Hate me for saying it. Western culture is better than whatever the hell that is. Now, the counterpoint they make is we have all types of food that we eat with our hands here in America. So how dare we? It's hypocritical that we call out Zorhan for this. One of the examples they cited is chips. I have with me some Cool Ranch Doritos. Here's how you eat a Cool Ranch Dorito with your hand. You grab one at a time, and you put it in your mouth. That's it. That's how you do it. Notice how I didn't slobber all over my fingers when I was putting that chip in my mouth? You think I could do that with this cheese? You think I can grab a fistful of this cheese like he's grabbing a fistful? I just flung cheese all over my desk. Great. I'll clean that up later. Like he just grabbed that fistful of rice. Look at how he's not grabbing a little pinch to put in his mouth. He's grabbing a fistful. There's one way to get that into your mouth, and it's gross. All right? So that's a stupid point. I'm sick of it. But anyway. So that's the day-to-day, the cultural assimilation. There's also the kind of deeper, long-term, can you embed yourself and become part of this system? Can you graft into America? And I will make this point time and time again. Any person who can do this is more than welcome into the United States. If you hold our values, if you believe that Christ is Lord and that freedom is the right of every sentient being, I will welcome you with open arms, no matter who you are, no matter what color you are, no matter where you come from. Come to America. We built it for you. Zorhan doesn't do that. He is a Muslim. Muslims don't do that. They believe in essentially conquering their way, either through political means if they can do it, but so often through actual violent military means. And here's my issue with Islam is Sharia law. It is directly in conflict with even secular Western society, even if you're not Christian. It is a theocracy, which secular Western society broadly rejects. There's an argument to be made that in a kind of traditional Christian Westendom, or Western Christendom, whichever the proper order is, that theocracy is actually kind of fine. You don't necessarily need it because everybody's Christian anyway, but you govern with Christian principles. Muslim principles are very different. Apostasy and blasphemy are punishable by death in even modern Muslim societies. To this day is what I mean by that. Like in Iran right now, in Nigeria right now, if you're a Christian in Nigeria, you better keep both eyes open because you're in literal danger. The Muslims there will kill you. This is something that Charlie Kirk spoke about. And, forgive me, that Dorito is stuck in the back of my throat. Take a drink here. I think it's important we take a listen to this. This is Charlie talking about why Islam, Sharia law, Muslim culture is not compatible with the West.
And people say, I like Mamdani because he's authentic. But authentic to what? And what is he aiming towards? He's aiming towards a devolution. It's bad either way. By the way, if he eats with his rice with his hands, whether he means it or not, he's either authentically gross or he's being a fake, disgusting person. And in some of the comments of a TikTok video I made, people said, but Charlie, who are you to judge other cultures? No. That's the point. We in Western culture believe that our way of life is the best. We're better than Mohammedism. We don't do female genital mutilation. Well, I guess the trans people do, but we don't do female genital mutilation. We in the West don't have child marriages. We don't believe in honor killings. We don't believe in polygamy. We believe in American exceptionalism. We believe our culture is better. You see?
And that's because our culture is better. Western Christian society is better than any other society in the world. There is not an example where that is not true. We are better. And I'm not afraid of saying that, and you shouldn't be either. Western Christendom is better than Islam. It's better than paganism. It's better than what came before. It will be better than anything that comes after it. We are the greatest society. We always will be the greatest society, and we should not shy away from that. Anyway, if you want to sponsor the show, weird segue, reach out to me via email, thenextgenreport@gmail.com. Reach out to me. Let me know what your business is. Maybe I can help you promote your business and you can help me keep this show running. I'd love to hear from you. That's all I got for you. We'll see you Sunday, AM 950 KPRC. Thank you very much for listening to The Next Gen Report.